Hey guys, this is Cam for 15. I'm back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back to talk some Clippers basketball, which I was not planning on making another Clippers game recap, to be honest. Like, I had game recaps, but then I didn't end up doing those. But I'm probably not going to do another Clippers game recap till after game one of the first round matchup for the Clippers. And I'm not really gonna also talk about really Clippers slash basketball in general because until the playoff matchups are set, because with my uncle Mark, and my friend Matt, we're gonna do a playoff essentially preview, going through each team, going through essentially the entire playoff bracket, seeing who we think will end up in the NBA Finals and end up winning it all. So I'll do that. But other than that, don't expect another Clippers game recap until really, I guess you can say, first round of the playoffs, whoever it is at this time, because at this point in time, I don't know who it is. Right now, it's lined up to be the Blazers. Or if we drop down to the fourth seed, it can end up being the Dallas Mavericks again, which I hope is not the case. Anyways, what am I here talking about the Clippers here? Because obviously you look at the topic on the thumbnail and even the freaking description, and that is Terrance Mann needs to play and needs to be a rotational player. Now, I'm making this video the day after we beat the Toronto Raptors, which for a majority of the game, the Clippers were up in this game, and if not the entire game. I definitely do believe the Clippers should have blown these guys out more than how much they blew them out by, but I digress. It is what it is. Now, why is the reason why I'm bringing up Terrance Mann in this video? Well, Terrance Mann, for the first time in quite a while, has finally got legit minutes in this game. So Tinker and Ty, from what we always hear from him, is starting to tinker some more. And hopefully, the one tinkering thing that stays is the fact that Terrance Mann gets legit minutes. And what I mean by legit minutes to where it's productive, minutes to where it helps the team. Because the last few games, Clipper fans, including myself, have been stressing out, okay, what is the frickin' deal with Luke Kennard and Terrance Mann? Why are they not getting any minutes? When even though you can say, well, they're just guys that are gonna be ready for when their names are called upon, and stuff like that. And even for my thing about Luke Kennard, even though he doesn't have the best defense, his offense has been, honestly, in the run he's been getting this year, especially in the back half of the year compared to his start, he's been very good offensively. And I've been wondering, and I went back to that Knicks game, which I didn't make a game recap, but I was furious that we lost that game. We had no business losing to the Knicks. And the fucking Lakers, of course, they beat the fucking Knicks. Even though it was by 2 points, they beat the Knicks without LeBron James. And I'm questioning to myself about the Clippers, why can they beat these clowns with damn near half a full squad healthy team? Oh, wait, it was a 12:30 game, and then second, the freaking rotations were damn near fucking awful in this game. I guess one more also thing to take away from the Toronto Raptors game, including the next game, is Paul George stunk up the fucking joint. I need Paul George to freaking wake the hell up because playoffs are coming. I don't need Pandemic P Paul George, like everybody's been calling him. I need the Paul George that earlier this season was out there saying, I'm going to prove these MFers wrong. I'm going to be dropping 30 points on you like that. I don't need this Paul George that's going to be going 1-7 at halftime with 4 points. If that happens in the playoffs, I'm sorry. I'm going to get on his freaking case. And on my game recap, I'm going to be heated. I'm not holding his hand anymore now. Yeah, my chances of holding the Clippers' hands is gone. And that's been that same thing since we got Rondo. But going back to Terrance Mann. Terrance Mann needs legit minutes. Like, he helps this team in so many ways. Guys. He pushes the ball up, which is what Rondo also does. He won it, so that's good. Terrance Mann, he very, and I mean very rarely turns the ball over, which I did like the quote Ty Lue said about turning the ball over, especially with all the flashy passes and shit like that. Man, just make the damn pass and pass the ball. You don't need to do all these flashy stuff like it's NBA 2K. If I want to do flashy passes, I can go to my career and do flashy passes with my player. Anyways, so he rarely turns the ball over. He actually puts pressure on the defense for once by just driving, and either he drives in and he goes up for a dunk or a layup, or he just drives in since the defense, and then when the defense forces in, he kicks it out, and usually it's a wide open three that usually either goes in or rims out or whatever. But he, is very good for this team playing, and he definitely, after this game, I'm like, dude, this guy essentially went 7 from 7 for the field. And at the time, he had 16 points in 15 minutes. And you can arguably say his 20 points last night sealed the Clippers a pretty fairly easy W. If not for his 20 points, the Clippers might actually be in a dogfight with an undermanned Toronto Raptors squads that don't even have some of their best players. Like, their best player on the court for them was probably Gary Trent Jr. He's probably their best player, unless you want to say Bruce Shea was another good player for them. But it's like, dog, like, come on. Again, it's the whole thing of the Clippers playing down their competition. I don't understand why we couldn't blow this Toronto Raptors team out by damn near 30. Jeez, but we can get blown up by the fucking Memphis Grizzlies by fucking 45 or plus that. Anyways, Terrance Mann needs to play. He needs to get legit minutes. Like, legit minutes coming down the line this season, and legit postseason minutes. Now, it's none of that 2-minute where you put him in for defensive possessions. No, give him some run in the playoffs. Like, every time this season he's come in this season at all, it's always been positive. The Clippers, tend to play much better when he's on the court. And I think that's because of his youth and his skill that he has and stuff like that. He's not versatile, but he's still a pretty talented player. Like, he's got inside game. He's definitely improved that area of his game. His rebounding is much better. I see him go up for rebounds all the time, and he usually puts it back for dunks. Like I said, he drives in, and he doesn't matter how many guys are there. He drives in, and he'll take the contact and hopefully get that and one foul. Or sometimes he actually makes like these very tough contested layups. And I'm like, Jesus, that's good, which goes to show you how tall and lengthy his arms and he is as a person and stuff like that. And again, if any Clipper fan had told their past self, like, Terrance Mann is gonna have a breakout year this year, and that's gonna be one of my great takeaways, despite how the Clippers end this season. If we end up losing in the second round again, or end up losing the Western Conference Finals, or say we get to the finals and end it, and we lose there, I don't care. I personally believe if we get to the Western Conference Finals, it's a good building block start. I think we should at least get to Western Conference Finals. If we get to the finals, I think we're overachieving there. And if that's the case, hopefully we win the championship to make that a nice cherry on top. But the one thing, despite how the Clippers season will end, will be just the growth, talking about the growth and the development of Terrance Mann and how much of a shock it was. If me went back in October, around the area when the NBA finally came back and started up, I think it was November or something like that when it started up, and said to my past self, starting off as I'm watching the season starting off the year, now I were to go back and tell my past self, like, hey, Terrance Mann is going to kill it, and he's going to be probably one of the highlights this entire season. My past self would probably be like, you must be crazy. He's a bench player. He's not going to get any minutes. He hasn't done shit. And I'm just utterly stunned by the growth and development. All Clipper fans were so upset that we lost Shea for Paul George, especially if Paul George doesn't come in and produce like we expect him to produce. We will go back on looking at it, we should have never made that deal to begin with. And yes, Shea is a very talented player. I loved Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, I'm not saying Terrance Mann is gonna be better than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, nor is he as good as Shai Alexander, because Shai Alexander has many different things he can do compared to Terrance Mann. But Terrance Mann is a good quality player and definitely a building block for the future of the Clippers, if I would say so myself. And who knows, maybe he could get better than Shai, because this guy, every night I watch this guy play basketball, he gets better every night. He's just gotten better. That one run, few months of run when he actually got legit playing time, you could see the growth and development came to play. And then you can thank Dan Craig and Kenny Atkinson, as well as Chauncey Billups too, because I know Chauncey Billups always talked to him as well. But Dan Craig and Kenny Atkinson were mostly really the main development guys. We saw what Dan Craig did with Miami. Miami had very young players, and their young players had really great freaking years, especially last year and stuff like that. And we know what Danny Atkinson did with the Nets when they were still young and they were a young upcoming team before they signed Kyrie and Durant. They were a hard fighting team, and stuff like that. Now, going back to the thing is, obviously the one problem is what is the whole minute situation with Terrance Mann. And this is why I hope Ty Lue wakes up out of his ass and for the playoffs, because that's the one thing I'm guaranteeing. I hope, because that's what everybody says, that Ty Lue gets his shit together in the playoffs. He doesn't play all his cards. He plays the right lineups, and he will sit you if you suck. So I'm expecting Ty Lue to man up, and I'm expecting if Paul George is stinging up the joint, he takes Paul George out and keeps benches him and continuously do it unless he's going to show up and play better and stuff like that. And now the minutes thing is this. So we have a obviously heavy guard rotation, and that's the guard rotation obviously we have is Terrance Mann, Beverly, Rondo, Jackson, Reggie, Kennard, and Yogi, but we already know Yogi's not going to play most of any games, if not any games, and stuff like that. Now, the guard rotation. Look, personally, if you ask me, the person I think who should be the odd guy out of the rotation should be Reggie Jackson. But knowing Ty Lue of how good he played, he's not going to do that to Reggie, sadly. I think Reggie is in the same position as Trez when we had him in the playoffs. He's virtually unplayable. You cannot play him. I still get flashbacks to this day when Luka Doncic essentially one-on-one with Reggie Jackson and he hit the freaking game 4 dagger over Reggie Jackson, which I hope never to see that again. But somebody's going to go out the rotation. Beverly, he hasn't done good because he's come off injury, but Ty Lue's definitely going to play him because, one, you're paying him crazy amounts of money, and then two, he's despite him not playing well, he's still a good offensive asset. Now, in terms of the offseason, I will say between Beverly and Reggie, one's got to go. Rondo's already signed on, already going to be back next year because he has a 2-year deal. So he's going to be back next year with the team, which leaves your guard rotation as Beverly, Mann, and Kennard, which would leave it a 4-man rotation because Reggie Jackson would be a free agent after this year. Now, the thing is, the Clippers can either say, let Reggie Jackson walk in free agency and be like, go sign for some money since the team will find you valuable. Or what they can do is trade Patrick Beverly. It will free up some cap space because, he's got that contract. He's got one more year left on his deal. You can trade Bev, maybe get an asset or maybe some picks in return or a pick in return for Beverly. And guess what? You can then insert Terrance Mann into the rotation right then and there. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. Either or, Reggie being let go in free agency or Bev being traded definitely could both happen. Either or can happen. Personally, if you ask me, I want one of those two scenarios to happen. I feel like with Bev being traded, it's just a way to get rid of whatever is left of the 2018-2019 Clippers team. Because if we remember from that team, Trez was gone first. Then after Trez was Doc. Then after Doc this year was Lou, who's the only last remnant of the 2018-2019 team before we ended up getting Paul George and Kawhi. Patrick Beverley. And the reason why the Clippers front office can make the, move to cut Patrick Beverley or trade him away is injuries. This guy has not played in forever, and that's why this guy looks, honest to God, like hot garbage. He has not looked good coming back, and stuff like that. Which you have Clipper fans saying, yeah, Patrick Beverley either needs to fucking sit the fuck down. He sucks right now. And that's what happens when you're out for how long you've been out, because you just get injury after injury and after injury. The front office, I feel like, could be like, you know what? The last injury's breaking straw. After this year, we're trading you. Thank you for what you did for us, Patrick Beverley, but I'm sorry, you gotta go. And things like that. So I feel like they definitely could go that direction. Reggie Jackson's a thing that's up in the air for me. I feel like I could see the Clippers bringing him back because he wants to play with his boy PG. We'll just have to see what that thing is. You would think of how well he's played this year, it'd be like, I would want more money, a better contract. But if he's PG's boy, I guarantee you he'd sign for another $1 million, a 1-year deal again, and stuff like that. Because it's like, hey, why not? But in either or, hopefully that's the case. And if one of them are gone, hell, if both of them actually end up being gone, well, guess what? That's even better, because not only gets Terrance Mann playtime, it gets Luke Kennard some playtime. Because if you don't know about Luke Kennard, his contract, his $64 million contract, kicks in next year, and that's a lot of money to be having a loaded guard rotation and have him sitting on the bench just getting DNPs. So yeah, that's kind of just my thoughts on the Terrance Mann playing, of him needing to play, because this kid cannot get DNP'd. He's getting better with every time he plays, and he helps the team in more ways than not. And like I said too, Terrance Mann a few years ago wasn't willing to take wide open 3-point shots. He was just kind of a guy that would just only try to go into the rim. Heck, he was pretty timid even going to the rim now. This year, he's more aggressive to go to the rim, and this year, he's actually taking spot-up 3-point shots, and he's actually hitting them, which goes to show he's been working on his 3-point shot. And essentially, you can say Terrance Mann is a much taller, longer, bigger, dare I say, version of Patrick Beverley, who Patrick Beverley we know is a 3-and-D player, and Terrance Mann is a 3-and-D player and looks to slightly be maybe even better than Patrick Beverley. Now, he may not have the same defensive intensity as Patrick Beverley, but he still is willing to take some of the best challenges when he was on the court. Like, there was many times in games he played, he took on Bradley Beal, I think Steph Curry at one point, Trey Young, Luka Doncic. We know those two don't like each other. And that's why I feel like, somebody's got to go off this guard rotation. Somebody's got to go, if not both got to go. And Terrance Mann's definitely got to play. Like, he has grown so much, and his growth is going to be stunted if, we'll say, these older veterans keep playing. And again, I feel like, and again, it's the thing, what I feel like all teams should have, which is a mixture of youth and a mixture of veteran play. Because I feel like you can get the most out of a team if you do that. All my freaking teams at this point in time, Clippers, they need to realize it now. Instead of just playing directly just straight veterans, it needs to be a mixture of youth and veterans. But my baseball team, I like the Angels. They cut Albert Pujols because they want a mixture of youth and veteranship in the fold. My Chicago Bears, even though they piss me off time and time again. Well, recently I'm happy, but they have a mixture of veterans and youth right there on that team. So yeah, but that's my thing there. So yeah, that's kind of it, and that's my thoughts on Terrance Mann and the fact that he should be getting playing time. So hopefully he does get playing time in the playoffs, because I think he's definitely earned playoff rotation minutes and stuff like that. He's definitely has earned it. And I feel like he's ready for the challenge. He's willing to do that because, hey, you can't be scared if you're gonna go into a game. But yeah. But other than that, that's kind of all I got to say about the video today. So if you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section. If you're Clipper fans, what are your thoughts? Do you think Terrance Mann should play more? Should he get legit playoff minutes? And stuff like that, or do you think otherwise? Which is probably gonna be a resounding no. Also, hit that subscribe button to get more Clippers content, as well as each and every game recap after each and every Clippers game in the playoffs, win or lose or whatever happens and stuff like that in the playoffs. Again, also subscribe if you want to get my playoff preview of the NBA and stuff like that. And yeah, other than that, that's kind of it. So I'm gonna get after it, guys. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day or night or when you're checking out this video. Until then, guys, I guess I'll see you guys in either the playoff preview or the first game recap after the first playoff game for the Clippers. Other than that, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.